People who actually love their jobs, how and why. Bergam0T said, I left my career in the big hustle of the city, LA, and before that Toronto, and moved to a tiny town in the mountains where I took a job as a baker. It's like living in a Hallmark movie. There isn't a stoplight around for like 30 miles and everything is all Alpine Village and shit. I make half the money I did at my old desk job, but my expenses are half what they were, and I have zero stress. Our customers are always happy because pie. Fishes said, to anyone reading this who thinks this is the life for me, definitely try before you buy, if you can. I'm currently spending 2 months in a town of 60 people in the Southern Sierras. It's wonderful, beautiful and lovely, and I'm really excited to get out of here in a month. I always wondered if dropping out would be the move for me, and now I know it's not. I miss amenities, I miss going out to eat, trees have stopped being unique, the weather isn't always great, very hot RN, I'm bored of driving the same 2 mountain roads for a half hour to get anywhere. I appreciate how beautiful it is, and I love it, but once the romanticism wears off, and it does, there's a lot of inconvenience and repetition. Guinmerlinary 1067 said, I'm a science teacher. I love working with kids. I love that I don't have administrative responsibilities. All I have to do is make lesson plans, and teach these plans, and I can refine them through the day as needed. If a lesson goes great, I can save it for the next year, and there is no shortage of good ideas online. It is infinitely more rewarding helping kids understand difficult concepts and seeing those aha moments, much better than my previous soul-crushing desk job. Also, every now and then I get to blow shit up with a bunch of kids. Slivinkalever 710 said, I love working in manufacturing welding. There's a lot of satisfaction in creating something out of something else. I take pride that my work meets specs and the money is okay. It's not necessarily a rare skill set, but not everyone can do it. I've struggled with ADD and depression, so being successful at my trade is very important to me. Dsnut066 said, I am an account executive at a manufacturing company and love it. I just sell the equipment we make. And it's so unique, aluminum casting, that I don't even sell it, I just have buyers contact me for quotes. I love sifting through drawings to come up with prices. And when I'm slow I wander out to the shop floor to see how our projects are coming along and chat with the machinists and assembly crew. It's always changing and the hours are super flexible so I can have a better work-life balance with my 2 kiddos. Climbermaniac said, I am a maths and physics teacher. Luckily where I teach, our yearly curriculum consists of approximately 5 words. As you say, the freedom to teach what and how you see fit is amazing and fulfilling. Every time you can change something, improve on last time or try else. But by far the most rewarding part for me is to accompany these young souls for a little bit, through a fascinating, challenging and equally beautiful part of their lives, before letting them journey onwards on their paths. I love my job. Every day. A decent salary, flexible and relatively little working hours, part-time possibilities, lots of holidays etc. sure don't hurt either. Unfriendly Giant said, I am an art teacher too and I have the best job in the school. Every year gets better too because I am becoming so much freer in what I teach and how I teach. I want learning to be fun and I want my students to enjoy their time in my class. I lie to them and tell them what we are doing is easy so they start to play and experiment. Only at the end to let them know how difficult what they have done actually is. Most of our school doesn't think like we do. True creativity is a hard thing to manipulate and through playing we have achieved some truly wonderful works of art but more importantly I have helped make people who value their creative thinking skills. The world needs more creative thinkers. We make everything better. Numpty said, really in my high school it's very anti-STEM focused and if that's what they're trying to do they're doing a great job. However I get the feeling it's not. My French immersion high school setup is very sports and arts centered which sucks cause I don't really like either. We have loads of arts and sports options but I actually had to switch into the English science classes because of how horrible the French ones were. Also by force I had to switch into the English math program even though I've never done math and English before because they don't offer it at any other level than the highest. They also have something called college and trade-oriented classes where they have philosophy, law and psych but also auto shop and metalworking. which is neat, but out of all the special program options we have, which are 7 and they're all intense sports or arts like a theater intensive. I like science now that I'm actually taking good science classes. However, the only science-focused programs is a sports science intensive focused around geology. Also, none of the classes are set up to fit together. Science 8, 9, 10 all flow really well. Then we move into the specialized classes and your options are Chem 11, Physics 11, Life Sciences, Applied Sciences Chem 12, Physics 12, Geology 12, Biology 12, Psych 12. Notice how only 2 of the class options are follow-ups to each other like WHO does that. Yet one more idiot said, in secondary high school, the qualifications you take will not land you a job, despite what some teachers may try to make out. The only purpose of them is to get you into university. In university, you want to pick a subject that you love and that will help lead you to a career you can enjoy. I did not realize this, and when I went to uni I chose a degree in maths. Yes, it was by far my best subject, but I had no idea where I was going to take it post-graduation. Cue graduation, 3 years in a crappy dead-end job, and 7 more years unemployed before I went and retrained for a year and became a junior accounts assistant. 5 years down the line, I'm now part-qualified chartered accountant, still working at the same firm as a senior accounts manager. Do I love my job? Not really. It's a good job and it pays well, but I always wanted to be an astronaut. Do I love where I work? Yeah. We all get along, we make a good team, we have each other's backs and there's good banter in the office. That's why I enjoy going to work, not the work so much but the close-knit team. Nakmir Loeb said, thank you. What grade levels do you teach? My son hated art in elementary because the teacher focused on a lot of cut this shape and paste it on paper projects. He has coordination issues and hates the fuck out of scissors. Cutting shapes was basically a freaking nightmare. I remember one art meeting where the art teacher was like, I asked them to cut squares and rectangles and make a skyline and your son did this. It was more of an abstract skyline, with the yellow squares rectangles above the buildings. You could see the disappointment on her fact that he hadn't exactly followed directions. Because of a lack of options in middle and HS, he kinda got stuck in art classes as a way to supplement his physical therapy, which I was okay with, and because the teachers were a lot more laid back and not as focused on do it this way because I said so, he started to enjoy it more. He took a sculpture class this last school year and loved the shit out of it. He's taking sculpture II this year, his last year of HS, and I can't wait to see what he comes home with. Diet Beverage said, I'm a private music teacher, for mostly kids but some teens and adults, and I feel the same way. I love nurturing my students' creativity and working with them to figure out what makes learning easiest. I had to switch to virtual when the pandemic started and it gave me a lot of insight as to how to make lessons the best for my students' individual needs when they're stressed by COVID, virtual school, etc. To top it off, my managers are helpful, kind, and considerate, and my boss's kid loves taking my voice lessons, so we're on really good terms. I plan on transitioning to public school when I get my degree credential, but I love this job so much that I hope to continue offering private lessons even after that happens. California Dude 86 said, I'm a member of the International Union of Elevator Constructors. I install elevators for a living. The benefits and pay are incredible. The work is very satisfying and I actually enjoy coming into work every day. It can get stressful and some days are way harder than others, but generally it's a pretty fun job building shit and using tools all day. Lord Judd said, Pediatric registered nurse. When I'm done my assessments, medication administration, and charting, I spend my downtime building Legos and playing video games with my patients. Pretty sweet gig. Construction Lower 549 said, I have a really good friend that's the medical director of the child abuse program of our trauma hospital and she's phenomenal. She's an immigrant, has a special needs daughter, makes sure her patients get all the care they need, and get discharged in cute outfits and clean diapers before they go out in the world, handles court cases like a boss, and still has time to go to boot camp and gossip about reality TV with me. Do we want to go there? Said. Worked retail for 10 years. Took a pay cut to go to a different, small grocery store. It's kind of like a David's if anyone knows that chain. Bit bigger, it's in a rich-ass development. Old white folk, nice tips sometimes randomly just for pointing out the bananas or something. So I'm the only one in the produce department. I run this bitch. Zero supervision. It's pretty nice. I can take breaks whenever I want. Free lunch from the deli. Don't have to deal with customers aside from the occasional whereas X. Pretty sweet gig. But I've already gotten a raise to match my previous salary. And the usual promises of more. We'll see about that, but I'm happy for now. They're happy with me. All is well, and I'm not pissed off all day anymore. Only complaint would be that because the way the trucks are scheduled I don't get 2 days in a row off anymore. But oh well. I can deal. Forpin said, there is a group of 3 dog walkers who have several dogs each who walks by my house every day. For months nothing ever happened. I'd look over think holy fuck that's like 20 dogs. They'd kind of be talking and walking and it looked quite great on sunny days. Anyway, one time somehow one dog got loose and ran through the field across the street and one of them gave their dogs to the other walker to go get it. So that wasn't going great and the other person handed their dogs off to, so now one guy has like 20 dogs while these other 2 people are trying to wrangle this rogue dog. But like, it's a dog, you ain't going to catch it and whatever treat they're waving around isn't working. Anyway, not sure what happened but like half the dogs the one person was now holding decided to go running and then all the dogs were loose. They corralled them all back eventually. Most the others seemed to listen or respond to treats. I'd say they spent 90 minutes that looked fairly frustrating. I got virtually zero work done during the escapades. Halfman Halfberpig said, love this answer. I used to be you. I built it up into a pet care business with 2 locations that offered doggy daycare, boarding, grooming, and training. Eventually paying my staff and rent for my spaces made it as super stressful and I really missed when I was just a dog walker. I still tell people that was the best job I ever had. I love my job now, and it's much better for my family because insurance benefits, but for the 10 years I was a dog walker I woke up every day psyched because I literally loved every day. I hope you always have everything you want and need so you can do it forever. Stevatrov said, I used to have a job I loved. I was a team leader in a R&D team, software systems design. Great team of people working for me. Great management above me, management who actually cared but recognized that I knew more about the subject matter than they did most of the time with mutual respect. As the team leader and technical lead I had complete control over the direction of my team. Our product, that is extremely niche so I don't want to give further details, is something that was making the world a better place. Had lots of really cool kit to play with. Had the option to travel internationally to relevant conferences, all expenses paid. Reasonable pay, not the highest but enough to pay for the mortgage and have enough left over for some luxuries like foreign holidays when the world isn't on fire. Alas, I had to leave my job for medical reasons, but at least I had an awesome pension. Stevatrov said, how much schooling did you take? I am in the UK. I took a 3-year mathematics course at university and took a load of computer science courses as well. Then I got this position about 14 years into my career. Previous to this I had held various graduate jobs in software R&D roles, gradually working my way up to technical lead and senior technical lead. Then took the sideways move into more of a technical management position. How hard was it to get this position? I worked for a large organization, and the initial assessment and interview was very challenging. Once I was in, the promotion panels were tough, but once you got a promotion getting the job was fairly easy. It wasn't actually that hard, but I was definitely lucky and was at the right place at the right time when the job became available. HTH. Blue Moonkelhound said, all of these commenters are telling you about jobs with great features, but I assure you that there are definitely people in the same position as them who didn't love the job. I know plenty of people who love art or music who got into full-time jobs in those fields and ended up hating it, as well as people who absolutely love working retail. So what's the secret then? You can't just find a job you love, you have to find what you love within your job. You could be playing video games 8 hours a day and it would feel like a chore after a while if you just focus on what you need to do to run out the clock. The kind of people who love their jobs actively try to make it an enjoyable experience by connecting with their coworkers or putting value into the things they do, and this applies across every single job you could have. Of course, it is much easier to do this if the job has more enjoyable aspects. Having terrible coworkers or not being engaged with the type of work you do will make it much harder to foster love for your work, So you will see a lot of the people in this thread focusing on how much freedom they get or how much the skills they use mesh with their own strengths. I can assure you though that no amount of vacation time or free snacks will make a job great if you deeply resent having to waste your time on it. IKM199 said, "Me and my wife are team drivers expediting around USA and sometimes Canada. We love it so much that we don't have a house or an apartment. Instead of taking a home time, we just put ourselves out of service on our app and take time to have fun in whatever location we're at. We spent some time in Vegas, New York City, Miami, Rapid City and Rushmore and etc. It's an amazing lifestyle, and yes, this is lifestyle now work. Since I drive and team with my wife, we get 2 settlements into 1 bank account." Ariel Italic said, "I don't love everything about my job. I would still rather devote those hours to hanging out with friends or playing video games or something. But I'm a freelancer writing in a niche field, so I can ask a pretty high hourly rate for my work. I don't need to work 40 hours a week, sometimes closer to 20. I get to define exactly what those hours are, and I work from home, or wherever I feel like bringing my laptop. Plus, my current company treats me well in other ways: annual trips, cash bonuses, little gifts like bottles of wine and gift cards, and plenty of verbal reinforcement of my value. And the people themselves are pretty cool. When I actually have to sit down at my laptop, I still roll my eyes, but I can also take a break to watch TV whenever I want, so it could be way worse." CRRLLL said, "I'm a professional, certified American Sign Language interpreter. Been in my field for 5 years this month. I love my work. First, I love English and have all my life. Second, as soon as I started to learn sign, I felt a deep connection to it. It's a language that comes easily to me and makes sense. I love expressing myself in ASL. Third, I work in education. I never thought I would enjoy working with students, but my job is amazing. Being there to support the kids, seeing them succeed, knowing you were there to help and encourage. A big one for me has been working with students whose families don't sign. I am sometimes the only person in their life who uses their language with them. I never thought I could feel like I make an impact on people, but I know I do. I get to be a support, confidant, and friend to the students I work with. And even seeing them 3, 5, 10 plus years later, I know I will always share that special bond with them. I've had excellent mentors and teachers who have really helped me to gain the interpreting skills that I have, but also develop my empathy and deaf heart. Deaf people are just like you and me, and are oppressed so often in their lives, it becomes commonplace. I love giving them a space where, through me and communication facilitation, they are equal to every other hearing person in the room." Hard Rocker 943 said, "I'm a video editor. I've worked in the television industry for almost 10 years now. I got very lucky and discovered my knack for it in high school, making silly horror parody short films. Since I was and still am a horror fanatic. I was a huge computer geek and socially awkward. Didn't know at the time, but I'm autistic, so I had a very hard time expressing myself. Video editing was something that just clicked. I loved the technical aspect of it. How to operate a complex software to assemble a complete story. Shaping it as you go. Got lucky and was able to land a job as an assistant editor. Did that for like 6 or 7 years. Worked on cooking and realty shows. Very boring formulaic stuff. Then I got a new job at a much larger company. We work on mostly true crime shows. Some of the bigger ones that have like 15 plus seasons. I'm an online editor now. I basically take a show after it's been edited and I get it ready for air. I'm the last guy in the process who applies the final color grading and makes it look all pretty for air, and I make any technical corrections that may have been missed along the way. It's a fun job and pretty creatively fulfilling. If I don't scratch that itch for creativity, I tend to get anxious and start getting restless. I've been very fortunate to be at the company I am now. They aren't perfect. No places. But the people and company culture are great. And everyone cares about each other. I've had my boss buy my family dinner when my 5-year-old graduated preschool. I've got room to grow here and keep moving up in positions. I love what I do and wouldn't trade it. Most editors won't work the true crime genre long term. Too graphic for them, as we see the raw crime scene photos before they're censored for air. But it's never bothered me, as I'm a true crime nerd anyway and have always gravitated to the darker subject matter. though a couple of the cases have truly disturbed me to the point of me turning it off. Cat said. Besides that, it's a well-paid job and has really good stability and tons of opportunities. I'm an averagely skilled developer, but I never fear getting fired. There is such a high demand that I can find a better job within weeks. My workplace in particular is very low stress, no deadlines, etc. I can slack a lot and take it easy when I'm not in the mood. I came from a low-income housing environment and I feel like I cheated life by becoming a software developer when I compare my situation to people around me. Always Neophyte said. The problem is that there are a lot of entry-level devs, but decent devs are rare. So devs end up in a weird situation where they might be looking for the first job for years, but after they have 2 years of real experience they, almost, never get any problem finding other jobs. And the other big problem is that a lot of companies ask for unreasonable requirements that no entry-level dev could know. Personally, it took 4 years of active looking for me to get into my first job, and before the second year I had interviewers reaching me, rather than the other way around. It is really bizarre. Always, Neophyte Satadalbergia Latifolia said. I'm a guitar maker. I spend all day toiling in my workshop attempting to make more responsive and more beautiful classical guitars than the last. I get to meet interesting people through commissions and by getting to know other colleagues. I've spent a significant amount of time studying in Spain to perfect my craft, affording me both professional and personal experiences that have shaped my work and given me great stories to tell at the bar. I never have to deal with crappy bosses, wake up when I want to, work when I want to, take off when I want to, and have the ability to travel to my old teacher's shop on the Mediterranean for a working holiday should I tire of my current surroundings. It's a difficult skill to gain proficiency in, and you really need to live and breathe the work to make any sort of money. I'll never get rich, but that's not all that important to me, but I can't imagine doing anything else. The problem is that there are a lot of entry-level devs, but decent devs are rare. So devs end up in a weird situation where they might be looking for the first job for years, but after they have 2 years of real experience they, almost, never get any problem finding other jobs. And the other big problem is that a lot of companies ask for unreasonable requirements that no entry-level dev could know. Personally, it took 4 years of active looking for me to get into my first job, and before the second year I had interviewers reaching me, rather than the other way around. It is really bizarre. Budget Bear said. I teach at an entirely outdoor nature preschool. It's difficult, demanding, exhausting, and loads of fun. I'm outside all day and our program is entirely play-based. We call our outdoor classroom a yes space because we have set it up so that the kids can basically do what they want, as long as it doesn't hurt people or property. We splash barefoot in mud puddles, build amazing stick forts, climb trees, make nature potions, invent games, do art, and so much more. The kids even take their nap outside, under the shade of some giant trees. It's wonderful. Lineman77 said. Extremely supportive team, insane benefits, great pay, and the work I do is extremely easy. There's a lot, and some nights go later than I would prefer, but the work I do is not only not difficult but very fulfilling too, because I am making very direct impacts on a lot of small business owners, getting to see them hit all kinds of exciting goals. Earlier this year, mid-pandemic, I had a client tell me they were able to get a family vacation scheduled for the first time in over 5 years thanks to how great business has been, and directly thanked me for helping him get there. That's why I do what I do. Corin 450 said. Oncology Pharmacy Tech here. I mostly deal with insurance and financial assistance. My job is high pressure and incredibly stressful. But it's so rewarding to be able to get people help with affording their medicine. People are so grateful. And it gives me plenty of opportunity to bag on the US's completely broken healthcare system. People usually agree. If I woke up tomorrow, and suddenly we had free universal healthcare, and I was out of a job, I'd not be too upset. But since we have to play by these bullshit rules, and I consider myself pretty good at it, I'll content myself with getting people what they need with a minimum of stress for the patient and their families.